Anyways, I'm so excited to say that. This is a long time coming. Hello. Hi. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Bethany and this is She Eats Adventure. Long time no see, YouTube fam, all 5 of you who watch my videos. Much appreciated. I have a lot of footage from when I started my channel and before that and up until now of 2021 that has not been uploaded, as you can tell. I'm really hoping this goes up. This goes up by January at some point. Today is December 30th, so wish me luck in the uploading process. I have tried 101 times to upload all of my videos. Dean figured out a solution to my problem, but I am stubborn, so I was like, no, I'll do it myself. And now here we are, months later with nothing on my YouTube channel. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know that so much travel has happened, so much adventuring has happened, a lot has happened in my life in 2021, and what a beautiful roller coaster it absolutely was. We're gonna go over every city, mountain, country, okay, not everything, that's a lot. I did way more than we're probably gonna cover in this video. I don't want to make it too long. We want to keep it a little on the shorter side. I'm gonna try, I'm gonna see. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but we're gonna recap some big monumental moments that happened in 2021. Let's go. Number 1, checking off more high peaks. Dean and I hiked Whiteface and Ruth. Guys, I'm done. I don't know why I said Ruth, and I keep saying Ruth. It's Esther. This hike is not easy. I wouldn't say a beginner should do it, even though a lot of beginners do end up doing this hike. I did find it a lot easier in many ways than Cascade and Porter. Okay, many ways. In one way, if you have hiked Cascade and Porter, you know that there is that one rock scrambler that absolutely sucks. I hate that thing. I've done it 3 times. I'm never doing Cascade and Porter again. Ever. Again. I found that the rock scramblers on Whiteface were, I wouldn't say more enjoyable, just not as self-loathing to go up, if that makes any sense at all. When you get to the top of Esther, there is absolutely no view, so don't get excited. But if you do like very powerful women moments and women's stories, Esther was 15 years old when she hiked this mountain, which is now Esther, for the pure joy of hiking. And I love a good young woman coming of age story, and I think that is a fantastic one. There is some environmentally friendly off-trail discovering you can kind of do. There's an old ski rail that we kind of hung out at for a little while. That was, I don't know, it was really cool. The fog was rolling in all around us, so even when we did get to the peak of the mountain, we couldn't see anything. And I think for the first time in Whiteface history, nobody was at the summit except for us, which never happens. People did join a little bit later when we were about to leave. Okay, I don't know that it never happens, but this is what people tell me, that it's almost impossible to have the summit to yourself on Whiteface. A lot of this has to be because you can drive up to the top of Whiteface. Legend has it that Roosevelt built the highway going up to the summit of Whiteface for people who are not able-bodied, so they can enjoy the view as well, because he did enjoy nature. You can fact check me. This is just like local legend hiking. I do remember briefly reading something about it online, but nothing crazy. At the top of Whiteface, there is like a castle with little vendor areas inside of it. So you can use the bathroom, you can go to the gift shop. There is a food truck outside. So we hung out there for quite a bit. Descending, not fun. Because there was absolutely no view to be seen. The fog was that thick. You can only imagine how terrible it was descending. The only part on this hike that my heart was like, dun, 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 dun. I highly highly recommend this hike. If you have a couple hikes under your belt, why not do Whiteface? You know, don't let anyone tell you no. Go do whatever mountain you want to start with. My first mountain was Marcy, and then I followed it up with Algonquin, which are the two highest in the 46. Number 2, knocking off more high peaks, we have the Three Brothers and Big Slide. This hands down is my most recommended 46er high peak thus far in my hiking career with the 46ers. I found that it was easier than Cascade and Porter because of the Rock Scrambler, and yes, I'm comparing another hike to Cascade and Porter. This is how much I loathe them. It is much longer of a hike than Cascade and Porter, not as long as Whiteface and Ruth, at least I don't think so. We hiked down in the dark per usual in our poor planning. Dean and I are really, really good at poor planning. So by the time we get to a trailhead, people are packing up their cars to leave. That is our bad. So we really are great at hiking down in the dark. We kind of stopped at every little spot you could stop at to look. Different lookouts. We hit all the brothers and Big Slide, obviously. And we were able to sit at the top of the summit in the theme of my hiking year and enjoy it to ourselves. This summit we probably hung out the longest at, but we hung out there for quite some time just enjoying the view. It did rain on and off the whole hike, which is every single hike this season has been that way for us, but we were able to see quite a few rainbows across the way. Yeah, this was definitely my most recommended hike no matter what level you're on. I think it is doable if you have the time and the endurance. That's all I have to say about that. Highly recommend. Go do it. Number 3 is another hike, tabletops and Phelps. Hiking trip, I went on a girls trip with a couple other girls and some dogs. The Rock Scramblers are worse than Cascade and Porter, and I think I keep referring to Cascade and Porter because those are everyone's first hike in the Adirondacks. I've heard so many people get turned off to hiking from that Rock Scrambler alone. I find that once I get to the summit and I see the view, I'm like, oh, I totally forget it ever happened, but it's not everybody is like that. So these are more options for you if you want to try a different hike. Tabletop Phelps, probably not your best for your first. Even though people do recommend it as the first, I don't know why. I don't think shoving Rock Scramblers down a brand new hiker's throat is probably the best. Maybe pick something different. This was a seriously packed trail. I do not like crowds. I especially don't like crowds in nature, and that had both. I got so spoiled this last year on getting all the summits to myself or minimum like foot trail on the trail. This was not. This was super, super populated. It was a beautiful day to go hiking too. There's not much to see when you get to the top of Tabletop, and it's a pretty good view when you get to the top of Phelps. I do think that other summits have more to offer view-wise, but it is part of the 46 and had to knock those out. I didn't know they were going to kind of suck, but they did for me anyways, and I was already annoyed that there were so many people on the trail. Also, you have to take the Marcy Dam to get there. You do need a full day for this as well, so you take a long trail to get to the Marcy Dam, which does take a couple hours, and that's even more heavily populated than actually going up to the summits. It is beautiful to sit there though. Like, you could have a picnic where the Marcy Dam is and maybe take some pictures if you're willing to take a nice long walk there. Number 4, my older sister Rebekah visited New York from Atlanta where she lives, and she had recently gone on a hike. By the time this is uploaded, it's way past recently for her. Recently had gone on a hike, and when she was visiting, she asked if I could take her on a little hike with her. I had heard a lot of good things about the fire towers for beginners or for kids or people who are just interested in hiking. So we did, I believe it was the Rondak Fire Tower. This was such a good hike. In how my hiking season went, we had the trail pretty much to ourselves. There was a family packing up leaving when we got there. We saw a family of 3 on the actual trail. And by the time we got to the top, it was just us. We climbed the fire tower. And inside, there's a huge map compass inside of it, which was so cool. Rebekah was wearing this red jacket. I'm never going to forget this day because of it. She was wearing this red jacket that looks stunning on her. And with her eyes and her smile, it was like we were in a movie. I know I've said that, I think, before in this video. If not, I thought it. And Rebekah is an actress, so I really just felt like I was in a movie with her. I tend to think of movie scenarios when I am with her. Number 5, that time I tried to tell Dean that we could cross a gushing river and not unlive ourselves. He's a man of reason and was like, skirt, no, I don't want to do that. We went to hike, I believe it was Street Nye or Mount Joe. I can't remember because we didn't get to the summit. That's looming and glooming on me. I have to do it. No one was on the trail. We didn't even see anyone in the parking lot, which should have been our number one not to even do it. I had read online that there was a body of water that you have to cross. I didn't think that it was as big as it was. So by the time we got to it, backtrack, rained the entire week. Rained on the way up there on Halloween, rained on the way back. So by the time we got to this gushing river, it was like not crossable. And me, I'm like, you have to do it. I do not like failure. I'm very, very hard on myself, like very hard on myself. And this hike is like looming in the back. Anyways, so we get to this body of water and I'm like trying to convince Dean that we can go across. And he's like, we're definitely not going to do that. And my point was, there was this tiny twig hanging on for dear life on a log. And I was like, if that twig can do it, we can do it. And he's like, that's not how that works. We will be doing this hike next year, picking one of the 3, and we will accomplish it and we will do it. Maybe we'll do all 3. But I don't like failure, and I failed. So we're doing it next year. Yeah. Number 6, Dominican Republic. So we went from Syracuse to New York City. We took JFK to the Dominican, to Syracuse, back to New York City, back to New York City, back to Syracuse, where we did get a flat tire leaving New York City. So we were traveling for about 10 days in the beginning of December, which was way too many days to be traveling, not only for my body, but to be away from Avalon. That was really, really tough. But this was a really bucket list item checking off trip. I had quite a few bucket list items that were all checked off in one excursion. In my bucket list, I'm a horse girl. I am that, not just a horse girl, I am that horse girl. The one you probably made fun of in elementary, middle, and high school. Obsession. Horse girl, read all the horse books, was obsessed with the Irish and Scottish culture purely on the horses alone. Yeah, that was me. I was her. I still watch horse movies. Anyways, moving on. So some of my bucket list items involve horses, and one is riding a horse in a different country and like tropical terrain, like kind of like you see in the movies when they're riding through. Got to do that, which led me to a waterfall. And I have always wanted to go waterfall jumping. So we did that at that waterfall. We actually got to go waterfall jumping. And also I've always wanted to go in a cave. And while we were in the Dominican, not only did I get to go in one cave, but 2 caves, which was so cool. I really thought they were going to be like bad caves. They're not, but they're still caves, natural caves, nonetheless. A bucket list item that was checked off is I went snorkeling in the ocean. I have never gone snorkeling in the ocean before. I have gone jet skiing in the ocean, but never snorkeling. Next year, I'm hoping we can go scuba diving. So snorkeling was really cool. We visited a handful of beaches. We got like the local tour. We weren't, I mean, obviously we were tourists, but it was a little bit different. So we were there for my best friend Cheyenne's wedding. And her now husband's name is Franklin, and he is Dominican. He lived in the Dominican for a chunk of life. So we didn't really get like the Punta Cana type of experience. We got the Puerto Plata experience from a local himself, giving us a tour of everything. He explained like just life in the Dominican in a third world country. So we saw it from a completely different point of view. Now, another check life list, maybe not bucket list, for me was to have a destination wedding. Now, that did not happen. And whose better wedding it should be than my best friend. So that was really, really special. Even though it wasn't my destination wedding, it got to be my best friend's, which I was the maid of honor in. Number 7, Indiana. I had been to Indiana prior to this trip once before to go play golf. That is a story for another day. We do not have time for that today. Anyways, Indiana in my mind is more or less a boring state. You know, I know all of you have that state in your mind that you just think is boring. To me, it was always Indiana. There just never really seemed to be anything of excitement there. We went to a really modern, quaint area in the state. It's right on the border next to Kentucky, where you can walk from one side of Indiana to the other on a bridge called, the locals call it the Walking Bridge, but I think its actual name is the Big Four Bridge. So on the Indiana side, there is restaurants and really cool architecture, um, little gift shops and stuff like that. They're just like a cool day trip kind of thing, or maybe just a couple hours. The bridge itself takes to walk is like maybe an hour. It really was, I do have to say, like the best day ever, or like the perfect day from start to finish with a 1-year-old. And that probably never happens, but it really was just perfect from the beginning to the end. Avalon walked that bridge like she owned it. That was her bridge. And she pretty much watched most of it by herself, or she was on Dean's shoulder for it, and she did prefer to walk it. While we were in Indiana, we went to a restaurant on the side of Indiana. I think it was called the Union Game Yard. They had like cornhole and horseshoes and a lot of cool things to do outside that's very family oriented, and they had fantastic food as well. Number 8, Kentucky. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have probably got some hints that we have decided to move. And we moved. I'm sitting in Louisville, Kentucky right now. I'm so excited to say that. It's so exciting to say that we moved. This is a long time coming. I mean, since before we even had we moved. Avalon. This is a long time. To me now, it seems like excuses on why we couldn't move, but it really was just God's timing on when we were going to do it. Originally, we had thought that the North Carolinas was it for us. It was not. It was, in fact, for this chapter in our life, Louisville. I feel like I thrive in 80, 90, 100 degree weather. It is my favorite. Yeah. Here we are in Louisville. I know I have to start saying Louisville. It'll come to me. It's just 30 years of saying Louisville. Saying Louisville. It's just they're saying Louisville. Now I don't even know how to say it anymore. I will say it correctly one of these days. Today is not that day. I did do a lot of little things in between all of this. I did visit New York City a handful of times. I have lost 40 pounds this last year, which is not really an adventure. I guess kind of adventure-y. I started losing weight before I had Avalon, continued to have a healthy lifestyle while pregnant, and after having her, then I hit a wall and I hired a coach, and he is great. Also, this is something little life wins, because I think that was really important this last year for me too. I went several different shades of blonde, and I loved it. My hairdresser's name is Emily, and she took the best care of my hair. I'm going to link Emily and Jon in the description box. They are my favorite. I call them my glow up team. Another thing that I'm going to go ahead and say a bucket list thing I got to check off this year was playing golf and learning how to play golf. I had a great opportunity to learn. And I'm really so thankful and blessed that I did have all the golfing opportunities that I had this last year. That is something I wanted to do since I was a very small girl, and I have absolutely fallen in love with the sport. So now that we are in Louisville, I can play a lot more, and there's a lot more horseback riding opportunities here too, which I am excited for because I do love riding horses. Another big thing that happened for me in 2021 is that I turned 30. I pretty much dreaded getting older since I was 19. Like, I would tell people I was 19 most of my 20s. But a week before my 30th birthday, I made up my mind that I was going to love being 30, and that was it. And so far, I am loving being 30. You change your mindset, you change your life. I think a lot of it, too, is I never felt like I accomplished anything at all. Like, my whole life, I never felt like I accomplished anything. I felt like I never pleased anyone. I never pleased myself. And I wasn't set out to be a people pleaser, but I was very hard on myself. To this day, I am very, very hard on myself. I took a hard look back at my last 30 years of life and all the stuff I did accomplish and all the things that I genuinely was good at. And that kind of made me excited for my 30s to know what I can focus in and keep trying to be the best at or the best for me at, and things that maybe just aren't in sight for me. And that really made my 30s way more enjoyable. Okay, I'm newly 30. July was my birthday. Another thing too that has made 2021 my most favorite year thus far on the planet is this is my first full year being a mom. From January 1st, it's December 30th, I am a mom. Evelyn's birthday was in August, and I have to say this is the biggest and best job I have ever given. As a mom, I think something that's really important to me is to show my daughter that you can really go out and enjoy life and see the world. I think that's so important to show young girls and men that you really can just go out and see the world if you want to. It was a lifelong dream of mine to go out and travel and adventure, and it was something I started to do in my 20s, and now that I'm at this age in my life, it's not going to stop. It's something I'm going to keep doing. It's been such a passion of mine to see the world. I have zero plans right now for 2022, so I invite you for this next year on my channel, or however long this channel is around for, to explore Louisville, at least for the next 3 months, because we don't plan on making a trip until March anywhere. So thank you all for coming on this 2021 recap with me. I will see you in the new year. Bye.